Good morning, everyone. It's March 27th. We got the EPS long range scan. Let's get these stocks and talk about them. So we have TME. This was on the scan yesterday, and we could see here that price rallied back up to this year-to-date VWAP high, and it's been having some trouble here. So it's just some caution, but we had this nice pullback down into the 5-day moving average, this rally, and some consolidation. So yesterday, the trade plan was to look to see if price gets back above the 1450 region, right up in here, to get an entry. So you could see in the opening drive, rallied right up to it, got shut down, and it gapped up. So don't chase the gap. If you waited for the VWAP in the opening drive, tried to get back above here, you would have got stopped out at the low of day. If you don't chase the gap, pulls back to the 2-day, gets back above, pulls back to the 2-day, gets back above the daily VWAP, purchasing as it gets back above the daily VWAP with a stop at the low of day, rallies into a new high, ideally would pull back to this VWAP and rally up. You could see here, it shook out, filled the gap, got immediate strength, pulled back. And this is actually when I got entered and filled it at 1450 here with a stop at this lower day yesterday. Right? It was, if you use the prior stop here, or prior stop here, you'd still be alive. If you use this stop here, you would have got stopped out at the end of the day. So now we're gapping up. So I just mapped out a little scenario for the potential trade plan for today, just monitoring a pullback into this 2-day and 3-day VWAP, see if we could get some strength. So ideally the daily VWAP will look something like this on the opening drive if we do gap down, kind of just like we did here. It kind of got here and got back above. So maybe the same concept here. We gap up, we flush back down. We're able to actually reclaim this VWAP instead of kind of continue to hold underneath it, right? We continue just a couple closes underneath it, above it, and then we decline. So we'll see if this area could hold, and we can start to see a shift from this barcode, lower lows and lower highs, to this barcode. So moving on to our next trade is Verizon. And what we have here is on the weekly time frame, we could say that this VWAP from the 19th of December has been a level of resistance and supply for some time. As we rallied underneath it, tried to consolidate and start to break, it's been no looking back since then, and it gave us supply right to it last week, actually 2 weeks ago. So that leads us to the daily time frame now, and we can see here we had this recent rally that to that 2019 VWAP we discussed, and an aggressive pullback down to the year-to-date VWAP low and year-to-date VWAP price for this year. And we just got a recent rally, and we're consolidating at this 20-day moving average. So the trade plan for Verizon today would be to see, considering a pullback into this 2-day VWAP here at this 4409 region. And if we get that pullback, look for potential rally back above this recent high at 4230 premises. And we could have a potential stop up in underneath this low here at 4388, and then monitor for this gap fill and supply back up into that 2019 anchor. And if price continues to run, maybe monitor for a VWAP continuation play back into this high day, and then we get a second day, third day play. And ideally, with that VWAP, potentially could be looking like if on that opening drive, it just rallies, maybe we get some type of VWAP continuation play. And you got to ask yourself, what kind of market environment are we in? What kind of market environment are we in? Is stuff rallying and ripping, or is stuff rallying and failing. So all longs should be considered with aggressive consideration. Moving on to the next stock here is AFL. And on AFL, get this 30-minute time frame up. AFL, we can see here that this intermediate time frame is a little extended. You can see this big run up in just over probably about 10 days, just under 10 days, about 7%. And we're starting to see that we get these nice sharp pullbacks, and it just aggressively rips up every single time. So if we get this aggressive rip up and then break this prior low, that could start to build the pattern and sequence of lower lows and lower highs, which then could start to, if we break this 5-day moving average, could warrant caution. So that's just a potential caution situation. Now, if price is able to get back above this 110.62 area, perhaps we could get some consolidation here at this 110.62 for a potential entry back above this 1150 with a stop under 110.96. So ideally, maybe this rallies up, pulls back into this 2-day VWAP. If you wanted to take a cheat entry at a 111, or just wait for the break of this high at 111.50, and then we could have a stop in place right here underneath this 109.66, 109.64 premises. LX. So we can see here, same concept here, nice little rally, and it's been just digesting this recent rally on the daily, creating this nice little barcode scenario. So what we'll do is monitor to see if price pulls back into this $11 to 1086 region. We can see here we have the weekly VWAP. We're trading above the 2-day and 3-day VWAPs. So we'll see if this $11 to 1075 region can hold. Perhaps we put in a higher or low here, and then we could look to get back involved at this $11 region with a stop underneath 1075. So leading us off to the next trade plan is QFIN. And what we have here is that we showed strong price action recently, and it pulled back just underneath above this 20-day moving average, and we got some strength on the close above this year-to-date VWAP high. So ideally, we'll see if this price could just consolidate up in this area and then maybe set up for a 2nd-day play. Or this could be a don't chase the gap, wait for VWAP. So maybe we put a gap VWAP here on the close, and on the open, we'll monitor this gap VWAP that will be here, and perhaps we could pull back into that gap VWAP area, 2-day VWAP, get some strength back above the daily VWAP. So then we could be looking to get involved above 47.58 with a potential stop at this 45.69 region. So hopefully this was helpful. Have a good trading day.